Good morning to all of you. This is Dr. Pranay Devte, and today we are going to study the landslide evolution tool, which is a part of your second unit for the geoinformatics in geohazard paper for the MSc geoinformatics course, second semester. And we already study about what is about landslide, what kind of landslides are there, and different kind of landslide. And again, the we study about the what kind of landslides classifications, what is the causes for the landslide. So this all we already studied. So landslide evaluation tool contain a different thing like mapping, remote sensing, and monitoring of landslide. In this lecture, we study about how we can going to map this one using a remote sensing and using a satellite pictures, daily satellite picture, how you can monitor that landslide. Objective behind this lecture is to familiarize or to know the whatever the knowledge we have about the landslide, how to apply this knowledge to the real study or a real time study, how you can apply this your knowledge. So first component of this study is a mapping. Maps are a very useful and convenient tool for presenting information on landslide hazards. They can present a many kind and combination of information and different level of details. Hazard map used in a conjunction with the land use map are valuable planning tool. Commonly, there is a three-stage approach to the landslide hazard mapping. So, mapping is a very basic component, and hazard maps are used in a conjunction with the land use maps. That is a valuable planning tool. The first, the regional scale, we are doing this on a regional scale, on a state, and this one. So we generally going for the three type of mapping. That is a regional mapping, community level mapping, and site specific. So what is the regional mapping? First, come to the regional mapping. Now, the word which is used here, the regional, already everybody know what it does mean. What does it mean? Regional means on a region. When you are going to study anything, you should select a area. When you are studying anything, you should select any area. So that area must be having some boundary. So that is the first important criteria for doing any kind of study, whether it is in a landslide study or whether it is for volcanic and all the studies. Mostly study. Whenever you study something for research or your study, whatever the your aim and objectives, you should have some boundary, specific boundary for your study. Now, what the regional mapping is, what is the regional term suggest? Regional mapping supply basic data for a regional planning, a basic data for a regional planning by providing baseline information for conducting more detailed study at the community and site specific level and for setting priorities for a future mapping. Such maps are usually simple inventory or susceptibility maps and are directed primarily toward the identification and delineation of regional landslide problem areas and the conditions under which they occur. So regional means you have some specific region, like you have a Garhwal region, you have Kumaon region, you have Vidarbha. So this one is a regional aspect of combination of a different district or something like that. So means having some common feature which that region is having. The geographic extent of regional maps can vary from map of state or province to the national map, which delineate the entire country. Such a mapping rely heavily on photogeology, field mapping, and the collection of synthetic all available for detailed geological data. Map scales at this level is typically at scale ranging from 1s to 10,000 and to the 1s to 4 lakhs or even smaller. So on a regional scale, what you need on a regional scale, you need on a regional scale you need uh, a fine resolution data. Means you want to take a more bigger picture in a scenario. You take a bigger picture in a scenario, so that bigger picture can be assessed, can be evaluated by the data. After the regional scale mapping, you have a community level mapping. After the regional scale mapping, you have a community level mapping. This type of mapping identifies both the three-dimensional potential of landslide and consider its causes. This type of mapping identifies both the three-dimensional potential of landsliding and consider its causes. Guidance concerning the land use, zoning, building, recommendation of for future site-specific investigation also are made at this stage. Investigation should include subsurface exploratory work in order to produce a map with the cross section. Map scale at this level typically vary from 1s to 1000 to 1. So for the community level, what you need? You need a more detailed data or more detailed data. So this type of mapping identifies the both 2D as well as 3D landslide and its causes. So guiding to the this concerning what use of landslide and this all, you have a land use, land cover, and all this data with you, so that you can classify this landslide. Then third one is the site specific mapping. Third one is a site specific mapping. What is mean by site specific mapping? A site specific mapping is concerned with the identification, analysis, and solution of actual site specific problem, often presented in the size of residential lot. It is usually undertaken by the private consultant on land owners whose purpose site development and typically involve a detailed drilling program with the downhole logging. So map scale are very, but usually are about 1 as to 60, 600 or 25 mm equal to 60. So as you go to the down, like from the regional to the community to the site specific mapping. So three type of mapping are there. All these three type of mapping need a different data set, from finer resolution to the higher resolution. For a site specific mapping, you need a high resolution, 1 as to 600 or 25 mm inch. So what you understand from this all, you need a different kind of data set for different things. Three important criteria for landslide mapping. There is a three important criteria for landslide mapping. The three type of landslide maps most useful to planners and the general public are landslide inventory. What you need? You need a landslide inventories, landslide susceptibility maps, and landslide hazard maps. So three type of landslide maps are most useful. The three type for this study, and this kind of studies are of very important, because why it is very important? Because of the you need a proper information for this landslide. You need a very proper information for the landslide. Now now the first one is a landslide inventory maps. First one is a landslide inventory maps. So what is the landslide inventory map? A landslide inventory map is the inventories that denote areas that are identified as having a failed by the landslide process. Inventories that is deposit and classify each landslide and show scar zones and depletion and accumulation, active and inactive slides, rate of movement and other pertinent data on depth and kind of material involved in a sliding. One way is used to use a aerial photography. Landslide inventory detail. First, you need a first what you need. You need a landslide inventory map. So inventory map. After the inventory map, what you need? You need a inventory detail. What you need? You need a inventory detail. So after this one, for a landslide inventory detail, you need a state of activity, certainty of identification, dominant type of slope movement, and dominant of state movement, and type of material, dates and period of activity. So you have a landslide. What you have a landslide information of the area, and that in that area you need uh, a proper information which you can be used for the further mapping of and studying of this one. So this is an example of landslide inventory map. So you can see that dots, whatever the dots are there, that all the dots are nothing but the your landslide, existed landslide. So this all landslide are this all landslides are in this area. So this is a simple DEM. A simple DEM. You can see the different heights for this one. So you can see the different heights, and these heights can be useful. A landslide susceptible map. A landslide susceptibility map goes beyond an inventory map and deposit areas that have the potential for landsliding. These areas are determined by the correlation sum of the principal factors that contribute to the landsliding. This maps indicates only the relative stability of slopes. They do not make absolute prediction. A landslide susceptibility map can be considered derivatives of landslides inventory map, because an inventory is essential for preparing a susceptibility map. For example, overlaying of geological map with the inventory map that showing existing landslide can identify specific landslide geologically. Now, what is the most important thing is here? What? You have a different information. What information? You have a landslide inventory. Okay, you have a landslide inventory, then you have a geological formation information. Now you can identify, or you can analyze that some of the landslide is mostly concentrated on the specific geological area. Some of the landslide is mostly concentrated on a specific geological area. Then what you can do for this one? You can analyze this one. Then you make a landslide hazard map. That is what our main target is. You make a landslide hazard map. Hazard map show the areal extent of threatening process. Hazard map show the areal extent of threatening process, where landslide process have occurred in the past, recent occurrences, and most important, the likelihood in a various area that a landslide will occur in a future. So hazard map, what hazard map shows? Hazard map shows the extent of threatening process. How much possible chances of having a landslide in that particular area. Then you have a landslide process, where landslide process have occurred in the past, recent occurrences, and most important, the likelihood in a various areas. That is a landslide. For a given area, hazard maps contain a detailed information on the type of landslide, extent of slope subject to the failure, and probable minimum extent of ground movement. These maps can be used to predict. This map can be used to predict the relative degree of hazard in a landslide areas. Areas may be ranked in a hierarchical model such as low, moderate, and high hazard areas. Remote sensing and other tools that show the feature of landslide activity. What technique to be adopted for this remote sensing study? You need a topographic map that indicate the slope gradient. So what we are already studying, and we know that the landslide is mostly affected by the a slope gradient. The higher the slope, the steeper the slope, more chances of having a landslide in that area. So that's how you can have a landslide area, a landslide mapping. Then you need a terrain map. Third one, you identify a material depth wise. You identify a material depth wise and geological process, terrain configuration, and surface and subsurface drainage. Slope gradient, also called as the superficial geology and quaternary geology map. So what kind of study you need? You need a identify bedrock type. What is the subsurface rock type? Because you know that all the things are rely on a surface rock. So whatever the subsurface rock are there, that rock is going to be a very important one to decide whether this rock is a more fragile to the landslide activity. Then you have a surface and subsurface structure. Then you have a superficial cover and edge of rock over the topographic map base. You have an engineering soil map identifying files a superficial material type, drainage limited engineering characteristic, soil characteristic, and vegetation cover. So these all are the important factor for the this one. Then you have both INSAR and LIDAR use active sensor emitting a pulse of energy and recording its return from the ground at the sensor. Most INSAR equipment is able to penetrate. So you need a sum of the data from the ground subsurface. So you can use a different kind of landslide instrumentation. The immediate detection of landslide activity that is provided by the real-time system can be crucial in saving human lives and protecting a property. A traditional field observation, even if taken regularly, uh, cannot be you you are studying in such a way that you in a traditional field observation you cannot detect the changes at moment they occur. So you need a real time. So this is how your monitoring systems are there, how your systems are there working. This is the example of network for measurement and transmission of real time landslide data. So you have a slope movement sensor. A slope movement sensor suggests you the what is the different kind of rain gauge and battery and all this instrument is working. You have a geocons which measure activity among the along the surface. Now next is you have a earth slope. What is the earth slope? Now you have a earth slope like you removal of from the this one what soil from the soil. You have remove this soil from the head. This is a stabilization and mitigation process. So if the in your landslide zone in a such a way that you have a deep drain, you can remove a head and stabilize that area. You can also reduce the height of the slope. Then you have a backfilling with the lightweight material, benches, flattening or reducing slope angle or other slope modification. You have a strengthening slopes which having a plastic mesh reinforcements, rock fill buttress, stream channel lining, check dams. So this all can what this can all do is seeding with the grasses, the seeding with the grasses and legume reduce surface erosion, which can under certain condition lead to landslide. Uh, your vegetation is very important. Your vegetation is very important. Vegetation is important. What the vegetation do? Vegetation can be useful for the your what stabilizing the slope. So if you are more the vegetation in that area, the erosion cannot means erosion can be stopped. Erosion can be stopped. Uh, so what kind of method or approach you can have? Now you can go for a forest cover map, identify surface vegetation, topographic features, soil drainage character. Already done research studies may provide information on all of the above, plus quantitative data on controlling factor, possibly the local or stability risk assessment, aerial photography and remote sensing. Identification can be made of vegetation cover, topography, drainage pattern, soil drainage character, bedrock geology, superficial geology, landslide type, and relationship to other factors. The landslide and flooding are closely associated because both are related to the precipitation. Landslide and flooding are closely associated because both are related to the precipitation runoff and the saturation of ground by water. Flooding may cause a landslide by undercutting banks of streams and river and by saturation of slope by surface water. So you have a different kind of equilibrium methods. Classification system of slope stability. It is given by the some of the reminent scientists about the stability analysis. So you have a slope mass rating SMR technique, Chinese slope mass rating technique CSMR, rock slope rating RSR, slope stability rating SSR, dump mass rating. So these all are the different kind of rating technique, mass rating technique which can be useful. Then you have a hill slope. You can have a hill slope. Hill slope have a good drainage of rainwater. The bedrock configuration are also very unique. The subsurface condition of hilly terrain may have two distinct zones as a overburden and the basement rock. The forest cover map. So what forest cover map is do will be analyzing the different kind of forest scenario there. Then you have a risk management process. You have a risk management process. Risk management process will analyze risk, evaluate, and treatment of that risk. Analyze, evaluate, and treatment of this the risk for the area. It is important to define.
सर स्लाइड चेंज नहीं हो रही सर।
Sorry.
स्लाइड चेंज नहीं हो रही, आप बोलिए।
Okay. Okay. Now. Now.
सर अब हो गई।
Okay. Thank you. So you have a hazard identification using a different kind of what we can say the a different kind of data. So what kind of data you need? You need a geographic data, landslide data, hydrology data, and all. So what the basic document is required for the hazard evaluation? You need the topographic map, DM. You may form a DM for the area. So how you can use the DM? DM is nothing but a digital elevation model. DM is nothing but a digital elevation model which can be useful for any area. Then you have a geological data which also contain the lithology, means which rock type are there. Then you have a joint set. Then you have a land use planning, existing building and other facility, thematic map, event catalog, measurement of the distribution of block size as a sample plot. Then you have a hazard zoning. You have a hazard zoning. The subdivision of terrain in a zones that are characterized by the temporal probability of occurrences of landslide of particular size and volume within a given period of time. Landslide hazard maps should indicate both the zones where landslide may occur, whereas the runout zone. A complete quantitative landslide hazard assessment includes spatial probability, temporal probability, size probability. Now, what is the this three different type of probability? What these three probability? What you need to do for the landslide? You need to give the idea about what is the chances of the landslide there. Okay, that is the first thing. So, what is the spatial probability? A spatial probability is the probability that is given area hit by the landslide. A probability is the given area, means what is the which area is going to be a landslide, get landslide. Temporal means what is the a timing, what is the timing of the that landslide. And size means size, volume means what is the extent or what is the size and volume of the that landslide. Now we can see the one of the paper, a very old paper about the landslide hazard zonation of the Garhwal Himalaya. This is a study area. This is a geological map of the area, which you have a different type of
सर फिर से स्लाइड चेंज नहीं हो रही। सर अब हो गई।
just a minute. So you have a different kind of geological data in this map, which you can be useful for the. So how you can use, you know, now you have this data, you can overlay the landslide already affected or already the old landslide data, which is already been done, already has been event has been occurred. So you can have a two different kind of data. This is a distribution landslide data. So this is the geology data. This is the distribution of landslide data. So you can easily see that if I show you this data, you can easily see that at the low, this is a Rudraprayag and Srinagar. The valley is this may be This may be a Gangotri Valley or maybe Alaknanda Valley. So you what you can see that there is a large number of landslide in a downside or on a southern side of this map. So you can correlate with this geology. So in a geology, in a what we can say, in a in a lower side, what the rocks you have a phyllite and slate. So phyllite and slate is considered as a rock which is more susceptible for the now you can see the frequency of landslide. So what is the frequency of landslide means in which rock the more the landslide are. So you can see the phyllite. You can see the phyllite rock is having the highest frequency of landslide means which rock is having a more chances to be landslide in that area. Slope. So slope you can see the frequency of landslide in a slope is 15 to 25 degrees having a higher area. Then you have a landslide susceptible index for lithology. So you can see that first different column are there. First one is a rock type, second one is the area, third one is the number of landslide, fourth one is a landslide per square kilometer area, landslide percentage per square kilometer, LSI, landslide susceptibility index. So for the LSI, you need a different kind of data set. So this is a rock type and this is a landslide percentage. This is a next for a slope. So you can join to the another class if you have. So this one is a more than if the your class is category is more than 45%. If your category of this one is more than 45%, what kind how much the landslide are there? So most the landslide you may form in a 15 to 25-degree category. So that's why you have more higher index there. The another data which you can take from the this one or you already have the distance from the major thrust. So landslide is also a part of the or also known to happen a thrust. Thrust means a fault. Thrust means a fault. So you have a 0 to 2.5 kilometer highest area is covered in the landslide. So number of landslide is also 58. So what you can imagine and what you can suggest from this one is distance from the farthest or a smaller the distance from this one and you have a higher chances of landslide. This is a landslide susceptibility index. This is a landslide susceptibility index. Then you have a land use, a different land use having a different percentage of the landslide. So in a barren land, you have a highest percentage per square kilometer in a barren land. You can see that in agriculture land, you have a lowest landslide percentage. Then you have in a sparsely vegetated area. Then you have moderately vegetation area. So these all are having a different percentage. Then you have a relief feature. Then you have for a different drainage. So this is a zone of instability. This is a zone of instability. Now, what does the GIS will do? A technological aspect will do. The GIS can link this all the data set, whatever the data set we already seen. This one is in a hard copy or in a conventional type. Now
Sir,
GIS is a software that links to the yes.
वरुण सर की क्लास का टाइम हो गया,
Yes,
please.
yes, you can leave. You can leave. Yes.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay. So GIS data can be used for the this data sets. This is a grid-based approach. This is a special analytical tool. So now in a GIS, you have a special analytical tool where you can identify and analyze the data. So for a slope map, you can have a slope map, and that slope map you can create easily. This is a topographic map of the area. This is shaded. So you can prepare all this map. You can prepare all this watershed map. This is the type of DEM. DEM is nothing but a digital elevation model. Now you come to the topic the susceptibility maps. A landslide susceptibility map showing the subdivision of the terrain in a zone that have different likelihood. Now, how you can use this in a GIS? You can have a landslide. You can have a various approach used in a GIS. Mapping of this one. Then you have a management and modeling. Mapping, management, and modeling. So, how you can model this one? How you can model this one? You can model this one by the spatial modeling techniques. This is how you can take a different point data, interpolated surface interpolation technique you can use. Then you have a slope map. This is a 3D slope map. You can use to go in a 2D also. So slope map will give you the percentage of the slope in a both way, in a degree as well as in a percentage. So you can decide whether your area is having a steep slope, whether it is having a flat slope. Whether it is having a steep slope, whether it is having a flat slope, will be given by the your slope map. Then you have a use the statistical data. The percentage or statistical data will use the a different configuration, different data set. So characterizing the micro terrain feature will be useful. Example of micro terrain deviation surface. Calculation of slope consider as arrangement and magnitude of elevation difference within. Longitudinal slope calculate the steepness along the linear features such as pipelines. So these all are the different kind of data set you can use for your mapping. This is are the different data set which you can merge in a all this one. So now you can assemble the all the data set in a GIS like a road network data, or forest data, or ownership, which building is having a which sensitive areas. So forested areas are first assessed for availability, considered ownership and sensitive area designing. Now you have a environmental factor, triggering factor, multi-temporal factor, and element at risk. So environmental factor is nothing but a geology, geomorphology, soil, topography. These all are the environmental factor. Triggering factor is earthquake, rainfall. If sudden earthquake are there, your landslide will be happen there. If there is a sudden rainfall, if there is a sudden earthquake in any area, you can have a landslide. Multi-temporal data, you have a landslide, rock, dissolve, and the element of it. So landslide initiation, then you have special probability calculation. At the last, you what you need to do a magnitude, vulnerability curve, and this one. So what is the purpose of landslide zoning? Landslide zoning may develop by preparing different maps that according to type of zoning can be distinct among the different kinds. So landslide inventory map, landslide sensitivity zoning map, landslide hazard zoning map, element at risk map, consequence scenario map, landslide risk map, zoning map. So these all are the maps for the landslide you can prepare. You can also use the DEM of different kind of sources, digital elevation model, digitized contour map, the elevation slide map, slope map in degree, slope aspect map, flow direction map, flow accumulation map, village map. So these all are the maps you can also having this. So for this one, for landslide hazard zonation, you need a different layer. You need a different layer. Important thing is the weight analysis. Weighted rating system is based on relative importance of various positive factors that derive the field knowledge. So you have a more criteria, but you have to choose one. So for that, you need a weighted analysis. So summary of assigned weight and rating. So what is the summary? Summary is nothing but summary is nothing but what kind of data we use. So for the landslide susceptibility model, you can go with the GIS DEM slope, which DEM can be calculated slope, hill slope, and aspect. Then that aspect can also be subdivided in the sub sub slope and this slope. Then you need to reclassify this all the things, and you need to calculate the high susceptibility zone using this one. So this one is a landslide sensitivity mapping where you have a. So this one is a landslide hazard zonation map. So finally, what you can get, you get a landslide hazard zonation map. Finally, what you can do, what you can get, you get a landslide hazard zonation map. In this zonation map, you have a 2 to 3 different type of legends: high hazard, low hazard, moderately hazard, very high hazard, very low hazard. So hazard means a chances means in a very in a high hazard means there is a chances with whatever the orange color you can able to see in this picture, whatever the orange color you can see in this picture, is all orange color are area which is having a high hazard zone. High hazard zone. Now second color is also very fastly. You can see the low hazard zone. Yes, hazard, but hazard is there, but low hazard. This is a landslide susceptibility mapping means what is the chances of having a landslide in the that landslide susceptibility map. Then you have a GPR. Then you have a GPR. What does GPR do? Analyzing the information from the subsurface up to 50 kilometer. In a subsurface up to 50 kilometer, it is analyzing the area and give the reflection back so that you can already uh, know what the subsurface geology is. This is a GPR, bedrock and superficial feature, aerial photographs. So Then you have a different kind of data set. You can use lidar and GIS combination. This is some of the photograph which is showing by the this one. This is the inventory of landslide. These all are the study which already carried out by the different agency, different person. So this all are the nothing but the different kind of study, 2D, 3D pictures of this landslide hazard zonation. So you can also make the landslide hazard zonation if you have this kind of study, this kind of map component. So you already have most of this one. So you can always go and prepare a map and of the any area. Map, you can go to that area and distribute the information among them in their own language about that. Yes, this is a high possibility, high chances of having a landslide here. So that's how you can go landslide susceptibility model. So this is from the today's lecture. Lecture, and if you have any question, you can ask me, and also you can have your chat box in. You can have your question. If you have any question, you can put in chat box or you can mail me, so I can try to answer your question. So this is how from the today's lecture. This is how from the today's lecture. What about what is the landslide and what kind of studies are there? So thank you very much for more videos and this one. Thank you all for your listening.